G'day, how you going? This is Ianapolis, your acrylic guru here from Australia. Welcome to me video. First off, I want people who add me on Facebook to message me on Facebook and just tell me you got me from YouTube, just to iron out those scamming messages everybody are getting. So you can just tell me that you saw me on YouTube and you want to add me as a friend, because I like you to follow me on Facebook as well, and you can message me there, all right? And we're going to paint a painting today, but before we do, I've got a regular happy chappy out there, Matthew Glenn. I just want to say g'day and hello to you, Matthew Glenn, and you and your family. And also John Cox's son, his 9-year-old son. He follows my work and he just wants me to say hello to Peter. So Peter Cox, g'day, how you going, Peter? Hats off to you, and I hope you're enjoying your art. Now, I'm going to do a lighthouse. Picture was sent in by Katrina Webster. When I posted some ideas to paint, she sent this one in. I'll show you the picture in a minute, and but I'm going to change it up a bit, because I saw the picture she sent, and it's got a lot of aspects I can use in a tutorial to teach everybody of you beginners out there, all right? But there are some things in it I want to delete and add my own flavour to, all right? So Katrina Webster, thank you very much. She's from Castle Point, New Zealand, and it's her photo, and she did say I can use it, so hats off to you, Katrina. All right, and there will be links in the description below. You can click on my Facebook link there, send me a message, and my Patreon's page if you want to support my content. And I'll also have a link to my videos from my YouTube channel, so you can just see over 160 odd videos there what I do have in my library, all right? So before we get started, that's the size of our canvas. And this is the picture that Katrina Webster sent in. It's a lighthouse, so I like the way it's got a beautiful sky. We can incorporate our flavour of that. A lighthouse, some of the ocean out there. But see all this, we've got some heads and cliffs out here. I want to change that up and delete these pools and just make that my own flavour out there, okay? You'll see what I mean in the painting. We're not going to go backwards and forwards to this reference picture, but I just want to show you the picture, the photo that Katrina Webster sent in. It's her photo. So we'll get the colours going up the screen that we're using for this painting today, and you can pause it and stop it and write them down. And a bit of a tip, watch the video so you know what's going to happen, and if there's any changes you want to make along the way, then you can get your gear ready. Press play again and pause and paint along with me, all right? And hello to everybody that sits down and has a cup of tea and watches me on their big screen TVs and in their beds and all over the world. Thank you very much for following my work. Hats off to you all. All right, so our canvas here, it's a canvas panel I've told you it's a 30 by 42 centimetre. So first I want to prep it up for the sky and the water and then the foreground, all right? Down here on my palette, we'll get organised. We'll grab some flowing white. People are asking me, Jackson's Art Supply, I'm pretty sure they're in the States as well. I'm just using the global brand. This is the flow white that I use to prep me canvas up, whether it's a stretch canvas, a canvas board, canvas paper, whatever. The way I paint, I do this method, all right? So I'm going to always start off with me flowing white and some retarder. And I'll grab a nice brush. I'm going to use this little synthetic 2-inch brush, something very forceful. I can just get this onto the canvas. Now look at that, there's our canvas, right? And you got your paint loaded up in your brush. Don't muck around. Get it on. Get it on. So we're going to push that across our canvas like that. And we've got some water. I'll do the whole lot. Okay, and I'm just going to brush stroke that nice and neatly. Give it a horizontal refreshment. There we go. And we're ready to put our sky and watercolours in there. Back down on my canvas, I've got phthalo blue today, and we're probably going to use some quinacridone magenta later as well. So I want to get some of this blue, all right? It's got retarder in it. I'll put it on double side of my brush, and now I want to lighten it into this retarded flowing white here, because that's the colour of the sky I want. And our horizon line is going to be roughly here. We're going to have some heads and mountains out here, sort of coming through like that, and the lighthouse will probably sit up there above the horizon line like that. All right, so we're going to put in our sky with this colour. So I want to just crisscross and get it on to the sky there, and then come down to here where the water's going to be as well. This way we're not mucking around. All right, look at that. It's on there. Oh my God, it's all over the place. That's arty. But now let's bring it home. So we'll bring those brush strokes across. This is nice, wet, moist and retarded. It's ready to happen. All right. There we go. We didn't muck around at all with that. Nice and neat. Work out where your horizon line's going to be, and mine's pretty much up here. Okay, I'm going to clean this brush. Okay, our quinacridone magenta. Let's get a little bit on there, not too much, and spoil this colour up here. There we go, it's very subtle. Something polluted down in the horizon line. And we'll get this stamped on, pick it up, stamp it on, all across there, because we want this to feather up into that blue. Grab yourself a blending brush and a rag to wipe it on, and start blending that into your sky colour. Merge it in there. I'm tapping along. I'm not really being heavy and putting a lot of pressure on that. Now I'm going to get all my brush strokes out of this wet blue sky here. It's a very subtle sky. Make your skies for you beginners as light as possible. You can always darken it up because they will dry darker. And if you got them too dark, you sort of went overboard. That'll do. Now we'll put some sweeping clouds into this sky. Okay, we're ready to put the clouds on. So I've got my cloud brush with titanium white out of the tube, and I've got a toning colour, something I'm going to put shadow in some of those clouds, which is quinacridone violet, red violet. So was this one actually. It should have been magenta, but it still worked. Alright, so I'm going to use this bigger brush to get our clouds on. Now these are going to be different type of clouds, so let's have a look and see how we can do these. Alright, so we'll start at the top and we'll get something windswept around here the way they're sort of going in the picture. There's one. Just stop. Don't be in such a rush, and grab yourself a beautiful soft blending brush, and let's twist and merge that into the sky. Pretend you're the wind blowing that around, and look at that. You can do it with a beautiful brush. Wipe your brush. It's important to keep wiping. Now see here, it's there, but sort of get it into your painting. Really, that's it. Sweep it out. There we go. And that was not a lot of blending in that. Now we'll put some more on the other side. My brush is not that contaminated, so I want to put something about here. So I'm going to come up around there and overhead here. That's over the head. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing again. Let's start at the top. Look at your picture if you're going off a reference and kind of work out where the light and dark parts of your clouds are and how heavy and soft they are. And keeping some of the blue. See, I want to keep that nice little blue bit there. That's beautiful. Sometimes I've over blended and gotten rid of that lovely stuff. And if anything, we're creating this cloud in front of that cloud. All right, now see how easy it is? Once you learn this, it's not that hard at all. And this is going to start coming down into the atmosphere, and it'll pick up some of that quinacridone red violet in there. Now before we get too carried away, we want to put a bit of depth in those clouds we just put on. These two paints do not have any medium, slow drying medium in them. Now let's be careful here. Let's just put the softest little dots of this into your cloud where we roughly want it. Probably just underneath there like that. See, I'll press that on very softly. I'm going to get my blending brush and I want to smear that into our cloud just so we've got that colour shadow in our cloud there. Wipe your brush. See, that looks very dark on the camera. And down here, that's why I said go very lightly. You probably could have lightened that down a bit with some white. Maybe I should have, but I'll get by with that. Now I've put some more white titanium next to that. I haven't cleaned this brush. It's contaminated with that paint, and I just want to start mixing that now because I want a very lighter colour of it. I don't want white for these clouds. And we want to sort of put some clouds all over here, and these will come into the horizon, okay? So let's do a bit at a time. Put that brush down like a gentleman. Wipe your blending brush, and let's get these, get out the way, Mr. Rag, and let's get these and sweep them across the sky. Wipe your brush. Try not to think how your cloud's going to look, just let it happen because they work out better that way, I think. I want to bring that down into the atmosphere now. Get this along there. We're going to bring that into the atmosphere. Let's put some more on over here. Pick up a bit more. Just do a bit at a time. See, if anything, they're sort of scissoring and coming through the centre of the painting. And we can put yumminess on these if we need to, whatever we want to do. Wipe your brush. Along my horizon, getting it into the atmosphere. I'm doing it long strokes, horizontally, because these clouds at the bottom on your horizon line are always laying that way. Now we'll put some white into this just to spruce them up a bit. So I've cleaned my fan brush I've been applying the white with, and I just want to gently scatter some white in here through this distant horizon clouds, and let's merge that long ways. We want to create them to become long, and they're kind of merging and blending with that other colour. See what we've done now? See this? We want to sort of bring that up there. My mind's telling me that's where it should go to look half decent for the painting. There we go. Some of these are real subtle, but they're working for the painting. And see here, we'll get some just over there. Whisper it in. Now that we've done, we'll just put our yumminess in the clouds and they're done, okay? So the brush is clean, so it's not contaminated. Get the paint on here, not too thick and gloggy, so you can control what you're transferring onto your painting with. And we'll put some bits of yumminess over stuff. Not too much, don't get carried away, put that down. And we're going to softly blend that, but leave some of the harshness there. I can use some of this to kill some of that heavy quinacridone red violet down too if I want. There we go, that's the closest one I suppose. Some there, some in that. Not too much. This is just adding the bullshit effect to your painting. And just some in here to lighten some of this up. There we go. Now, before things get too dry, work out our horizon line, which is going to be about here, and we want to make at least that bit of the water darker over this area here, and then we can bring in our whitewash and stuff. So I'm just going to pick up the straight phthalo blue, and I want my horizon somewhere here, so I'm going to put this on there, and I want sort of here to be the darker values, okay? So I'm putting that on, and that's me darker values of the ocean. Dark out here. Take your time doing this, there's no rush. grab yourself a, let's try this one here. I'll pull that through because this paint's all wet still. Here we go. And then if you need to, you can add, as you go, some darker values again. Put your brush down, wipe it, and pull that through. Okay, I've given that a dry. It's not 100% dry, but now we're going to scratch in this coastline here, okay, the capes or the mountains or whatever, just so you got an idea where to map it in, all right? I just need a drink of me coffee. Okay. He's all doing. Okay, so I'm going to, what can we do? I'll just grab a pencil for now. And we'll scratch this in. I'll go roughly, get an idea from her photo there. So I want something that sort of peaks up here. Well, let's not kill too much of our beautiful sky. Okay, something down there. And it'll sort of come all the way across there, pull back, and then where the lighthouse is, and come off the painting. So that's just roughly our mountain, because we'll put our lighthouse here. We could probably change that if we need to, but let's map that in. We've mapped it in, so this is reasonably dry. I might dry that bit a bit more. I'm not worried about the ocean being too dry, because I want to pull some beautiful whitewash in that. So I've got my gloves on here, and I can smear that in like a gentleman. Okay, I'm going for the darkest brown I got, which is Van Dyke brown, but if it's not dark enough, I've just got some carbon black here on the ready. Now this can be a bit wet with water. That's a good quality paint I'm using there, so I can afford to put some water with it. It's not going to kill it, but if you've got a very cheap student paint or a flow paint, I wouldn't advise that. Okay, so I'm going to just see how this is dark enough. Yeah, it's quite... What do you reckon? Now, I want a little bit of black in it, so I'm going to stab a bit of black in that. And because I put the water on it, it's going to help this transfer from the brush onto the canvas better. That's a bit better, because I didn't want it just pure black. Pure black's a bit not quite the best. Now, this doesn't have to be a beautiful straight line, so long as we get the edge reasonably sharp. Okay, like that. Bring that. See how that's coming off the brush? That's because I sprayed that bit of water on it. Chalk, scratcher in or whatever you're using. Alright, we've got something out here. And let's get it up here. So we've got the edge done. Okay, we've got that blocked in for our shoreline. Now I want to put that paint to good use, so I'm going to pick up some of the white on a flathead brush, okay, and I want to mix up a bit of a shadowy colour. So this is going to come in front of that. I want this sort of up there like that, just like that, see? We're creating some sort of face here. And we'll come down there. You could dry this, I suppose. I suppose I should have dried it. I'm just trying it before. That'll do. Okay, we'll give it a dry. Now it's dry, we could probably get some of this in the way we want it to happen, or the way I wanted it to happen anyway. Just like that. Coming down here. I've got some raw sienna dark here and some yellow oxide, so I'll use this to start mapping in the ground. Now I want to come here and sink that shadow in that I've put there, because this is the lay of the land. Sharpen up your brush and condition the head of it with paint again, so you got control of where your paint's going. Zigzag it in there a bit, and this is sort of coming all the way back here. And there's our headland out there. Leave some of the dark in there. If you feel you've killed too much dark, wash your brush, rinse it, dab it dry, pick up some of the Van Dyke brown, dance it back, because we don't want to kill too much of the dark. I'll tell you why in a minute. It's going to add the depth. Alright, I'll show you on this top bit, then we'll do the rest. So back down here we've got our yellow oxide, and let's put a bit of white with it. Not too much, we just want to highlight it. It doesn't have to be fully mixed. If it's marbly and scratched, that's fine. But you're conditioning your brush, so when you're painting, you're controlling your paint transfer. If it's all over the place and you're still going, come back down here and condition it. Now we probably should have dried this. I want some of this over there. Just tracing back, I hope my head's not in the way, just tracing back into these colours. Now work out if you should have dried it or not. I'm getting away with this. Okay, stop. I've conditioned the edge of my brush and I've got black on there now, and I want to get a shadow under there. Maybe I could have, which I will actually. I'll use a script liner, have it moist, pick up some black and get some shadow under that there, just like that, on that angle. So we've got some shadow in there, and then we're going to pick up our flathead brush. I've got some more black with a little bit of this Van Dyke brown in it, and we want to kind of pull it down just a bit, not too much, just enough to give it some depth and shadow, and then we'll use the lighter one that we used again. How's that looking on the monitor? Yeah, it's giving it some depth under there. Even if you're going over that, doesn't matter. That's all your cliff edge there, your underpainting bit of it. Just wipe that brush on a rag. Pick up some of the colour here that you mix with the white. So as you can distinguish, you know how you got jagged saw teeth bits coming out? You can sort of find that, bring it back. Find that, bring it back. Bring it back like that. Just something like that. And we've got the depth there and everything else. And that's fine, don't touch it. Unless you're very artistic, you can muck around like this and taper it. But that's it. Now before we put our grass on here, we want to pick up the black, touchly tinted with that Van Dyke brown, and get the shadow against all here. Just work your way to that tones that you put in there. Work your way. Keep your brush on the lay of the land. That's going to sort of, we just want the shadow there. A lot of this is going to be covered up, but you'll see what I mean. And then we'll blow dry all of this. Now we're going to put our greenery onto here, okay, and sort of dribble it back. And then we're going to do the same procedure there and here. So I'm just using good old forest green. Add a bit of water with it. Okay, just so it'll transfer. Now condition the edge of your brush. We don't want big blobs on there like that. We want them nice and fine. Reload it, and now I'll start within the rock ground area. I want to spear this back. Get across at least your horizon first. You don't want to see that dark bit there. Just do that bit first. Alright, recondition your brush and load it. And this bit you just want dribbling into all that. Leave some of the dark, some of the light, pockets up there. Just simple but effective for a beginner to learn. Leaving some darks in the solid area as well, which is here. So we don't want to do that all green. We want to leave some darker bits that create the depth. And that's pretty much why I did that now, because this eventually going to come over here. Okay. And I wanted this to be dark under there before I painted this on it. Now I've blow dried that so it's not going to mud up. Alright, I've just added some yellow on there. It spruces up the yellow green a bit if you like it, but I'm not really a fan of that. So I'm just going to grab the yellow green and soften it back. See what that did? I made a mistake, but I fixed it up. We're not all perfect, eh? That'll do it. I'm happy with that. I tell you what, if you're having fun, press pause and whack that kettle on. Now we're going to virtually do the same here and along here, and probably splatter in some shadowy bits as well to liven it up. And then we'll put our lighthouse in. So I won't talk in this next bit. You know what we're going to do, but I'll probably speed the process up here and there so it's not so boring. But you can just sit back and enjoy your bourbon, your coffee, your tea, or your lounge suite while you're watching it on the big telly there, and just submerge yourself into this procedure, all right? Oh, I tell you what. All right, so come on over here and let's start again. So we're starting with the raw sienna dark. Make some scissor edges, sawtooth edges. Leave some of the dark Van Dyke brown there. Fade into the dark Van Dyke brown over here. Dry between each layer. I'm picking up the raw sienna with a little bit of white mixed with it again. Now we'll add our shadows before we finish this section off. Back to the script liner. Wiggle and twist the brush. Grab your flathead brush. Grabbing the raw sienna with the black. Picking up the darker of the green, forest green, dribble it in. Now we're finishing that off with the yellow green. I've blow dried that. If anything, I've created the shadow coming this way. I've got this one big enough, but that one isn't. So I'm going to pick up some of that Van Dyke brown mixed with the black, and I want to lightly extend this shadow, dry it if you need to, into that ground cover there. We sort of still want to, see, we're getting some sort of shadow there. Get some black into that Van Dyke brown and create a shadow. There we go. I think I might have. Now all we got to do is finish the lower land here and have our lighthouse, but we'll have this greenery sort of evaporating to some sandstone rock, all right? So what are we going to do? I'm going to use a flathead brush, okay? I'll leave some pockets of the dark there, picking up the raw sienna dark. I want to create merging of the colours. So I'll get this out there. I'm moving my brush, twist it into there, because this, leave some dark bits there because we'll lighten this as well. I'm kind of sweeping it on that direction, so I don't want to come downwards. It's not going to suit the stroke of the painting. To me, every painting has its strokes, and these strokes are that way. So we want some of this whispering up into that darker bit there. Don't worry, this is the first underpainting colour of this section. Bring that, you can scrumble that into there if you like. Before we forget, I want to put at least a bit of breaking water out here. So I've got quite a broad script liner, and I want to sort of get some sort of white paint on there. This is titanium white. Put that on there, let's see if this is going to work, because that paint's dried on me. I was supposed to have done this before, and we want to smudge that out into the ocean. That's why I say watch a video first. You could have done this before you started doing the mountain. And we'll just sort of, it's just like some breaking water out there. Just had to put some of this on there. I should have done it before the mountains were put in. Back down here we're getting our yellow oxide and some white. And we'll keep this simple. We'll just sort of come across the edge there. Leave some dark bits. Big area here where the lighthouse is going to be. So I'm going to get this brush on its edge now and at least make that more appealing to the eye. And then we can add dark if we want. Scrumble it together. You got light and darks all mixed in there. Coming out here, we'll get the grass to hide that edge there. We just need somewhere. I'll pick up a bit of the darker one as well. And where's the Van Dyke brown? Put some of that in there just to scrumble it all together. And then we'll dry this. Remember, before each coat of the grass and the rock shadows, you're drying it okay. Otherwise you will get mudding up and it'll frustrate the hell out of you. And then I'll come back to that darker colour, wipe the brush, pick up that darker colour and bring that back there. Wipe it, because there's too much on it, and scrumble that into there, and everything's merging quite good. And we'll probably put some pockets of shadow here, just not too much. Now we just want to finish this, so we're going to grab a brush to apply the rest of the ground cover here, and we're virtually just going to bring this over to about there. Dribble into some of those darker areas, trying to create shadow under your work. Condition your brush, dribble it over. Now we've got to dry that. Just picking up the yellow green and scattering that loosely. That's plenty enough. Now we'll just add the lighthouse and finish it. Alright, you can just draw a lighthouse in freehand. They're quite easy. If not, you can find a trace one out from the internet somewhere. So I'm going to work out, my base is going to be somewhere about here. Is that picking that up? I've dried everything. And I want the top roughly, where's a straight line from there to about, say, there, okay? So I'm going to roughly draw this in. So there's my base there and there. And then we'll come up, my top's about here. I'm just going to roughly copy that one on the photo there. So it's got a bit of a round bullet shaped top there like that. And then it's got a bit of a thing there. Bit of a helmet. Bit of a bit there like that. Oh, I don't like the way this is looking, but luckily we are artists and we can fix. Now this line here, it's coming across the horizon line, but I want to bring it down and bring that bit there. And then where's our edge here to there? So I want to roughly go from there to there. So it's sort of broad at the bottom and tapers in at the top as it goes higher. And that's a bit of a railing around there, obviously. And it'll have some darker windows over there and a little bit of a room off the side there, which we could probably put there like that. And it'll have shadow there. So now we block that in white. It's undercoated, ready to rock and roll. I'm using a flat brush because I find them very good for blocking in. They're like a chisel or a knife, but more control. So where are we? We're pretty much there. So let's go. Our lines were only rough. Let's put that there. All right, she's blocked in. Now I'm going to blow dry this and we can paint the actual lighthouse with shadows. How's it looking from a distance? All right, eh? Anyway, I've dried that. Now I'm going to get titanium white, like I should have primed it with titanium white, but idiot me didn't. So I'm going to paint this all white now, and I want to get my brush strokes in the angle where I want them to be finished. I didn't worry about the angle of the brush strokes when I was priming it. So let's grab ourselves some titanium white. You know what? Sometimes I crack a fat over painting because it's like, I like picking up the tubes, pulling them over the palette like that. Oh, there you go, got some paint, throw it down there like that. You're arting around, you know. And it's fun, it's good for the mind, it's good for less stress. So we're going to, does that, oh, see, it does look a bit tacky. I'm going to dry that, I've got it on a hot heat, and then I've got a button for cold to cool it down. All right, now I'm going to use the same brush that I primed that up with, and I'm going to paint it white and then add the shadows and the tone to it, or the depth, whatever you call it, eh? I don't know. And this is also the part where you can grab your coffee and have a bit more of that. Yeah, well, I've got the lighthouse in the reference picture to go by, so I can roughly use that as the shadow tone. But I just realised this bit here, can you see there? You can see through that, and I should be able to see the sky, but I've stuffed it. So what I'll have to do is find some of my sky colour when I get there and tack it in there so we can modify it to a pleasurable look, alright? Alright, let's get into it. So roughly from this point onwards, that mark there is where all the white is in this lighthouse picture that I've got. Find yourself a reference. There's plenty of lighthouse photos around the place, or if you live near a lighthouse, take your own photo and you've got more of your touch into your painting. And have a bit of fun drawing it in there freehand, because it'll teach you to become more of an artist. I don't mind using traceables, but for something easy, make yourself work for the painting and draw it in yourself. Just draw a bit of a bullet shape for a lighthouse. Alright, we're getting there. I have the slightest bit of toning grey here. I want to mix with what's dirty on my brush. So make sure you put the shadow to the right side. I haven't dried the lighthouse that I've just painted because I'd like it to be a bit rubbery to blend the colours. Now we've virtually got to find this corner of that, which is about there, and we've got to come into the right point, which is about there, and then we want to bring that around the sphere shape of the lighthouse, which is about there like that. This is probably a bit bigger. Use a brush that's better to control your movements with. And then this is virtually going to go all the way down the centre of the painting to that bit there. So we're going to we'll slowly work it across as we go. So I'll turn the brush around. And then once we put the shadow on the ground as well of this, we'll have some happening things to our painting. This thing here is casting shadow all over there, up to underneath it. Where else are we? And we got some there which I've already put there, and a lot right under there. And see, I'm feeling this shadow. I could probably, well, in the picture I suppose it's like that as well, add some darker shadow in the areas to really make it pop. I have some darker grey just to put some, I better get that conditioned on the edge of my brush better, just to, there's a doorway here, some sort of hint of a doorway there. That'll do, that's looking all right. And we want to get these windows in, so they're sort of at the top and around like that. I'm just doing this quickly. And it's got another one about there, so I'll go give it its cathedral top shape and then a bottom. And then we can probably, just a little bit more darker of a shadow here. Yeah, liking that. So we want to come around here and create the top of that railing. Use a script liner or this brush, whatever's easy for you. And then it's coming down like this onto the actual structure. How's that looking? I suppose that's looking something like it. Now this is going around the structure as well. This is the railing. And it's got all sorts of stuff happening here. Bits of, put one there, one there, one there, one there, and one there. We could put a bit of darkness up here as well. Okay, what's our shadow colour? Our Van Dyke brown with a little bit of black, so we'll do that. And we'll give this lighthouse a bit of a shadow coming from here, maybe to about there. So we'll shadow that in there now. So I want to keep it nice and tight against the lighthouse. Try and keep it a sharp edge without it feathering. Bring that down there to a nice point. And let's get up here. And there's our shadow. Okay, my battery's charged up again. I just want to get some of the sky back in here, roughly somewhere there. There we go. Just get that coming through there as well. Different colours. Wipe my brush. Scrumble it together. And now we'll just put our top on there of that, so it's pretty much coming around here. It's like a dark stained copper green at the top of here. And then this colour, I'm just adding a bit more black to it, just to get the aspects of the shadow of the light with inside there. I don't want it the same green. I want it a bit darker. It's on a bit of an angle there. Coming down here, all the way to this area here. I've just added some white, very minimal, just to lighten that tone there a bit. There is some sort of a power pole coming up here, so we'll put one there and maybe one up here. Just some sort of a power pole. We'll just put some kind of hint of glass here. That'll do. And we'll autograph it. And we'll pull the tape off and add a frame. There we go, that's not too shabby. We've got a lighthouse, a beautiful sky. We've got some sort of rockery over the front foreground coming here with some shadows of the lighthouse as well. All right. Be sure to check out the links in the description below, all right? Now tell your friends if you like what I've done, but if you don't like it, you tell everybody. All the best, goodbye, good luck, and good on ya!